All right, let's get this show on a road. So again, last chance. I don't think there's an intro class, but if there is, feel free to run away. Uh, so before we get talk, I want to highlight there's some events going on this week. Start us off. Active Minds is hosting an event tomorrow at 5:15 in McCarthy Auditorium. So please check that out. We also have tabling for the activities fair. Both Psych Society and Active Minds will be there. Tabling happens whatever day that is, Thursday, maybe, from 3:15 to 5. And then if you want to just come and say hi to the psych department faculty, we're having our welcome event next Tuesday at 5:30 right outside. I imagine there's going to be food, but I don't know for sure. So don't hold me to that. All right. So today we're shooting for 3 things, right? So let's say, but we're going to do some activities as well to actually understand what social psychology is. For that, a little bit about me. I'm from Rhode Island. I now live 5 minutes from where I grew up. Love my parents, but it's a little too close for me. Wish we could trade with my in-laws. They're lovely. I went to Clark. I did apply to Stonehill. Decided to go to Clark. That's in Worcester, Mass. And I'm currently the advisor of the chess club here on campus. So definitely check them out. Peter Johnstone is the president. He's awesome. The whole executive board, they're great people. They have a ton of fun. And I imagine they'll be in the library again. That's where they were last time. But regardless, you don't care about this. You want to know my top threes. So let's go. All right. So music, top three music. The artist is Blink-182, Eminem, and T Swift. When I'm binging shows on Netflix, it's either Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Bob's Burgers, or Parks and Rec. Honorable mention to The Office, but movies, Harry Potter, and then these two like indie flicks, The Lobster and Her. The Lobster, interesting. Check it out. I like cooperative games, so board games. I like to play Spirit Island with my wife, as well as this game called Pandemic Legacy. You basically play 12 games, but you can only play it once. Like you destroy the board. It's a 12-month game that you don't have to play in 12 months. Video games. I spent my summer wasting away, not grading finals, playing Blueprints. I like Skyrim. Excited for the next one coming, or my wife says Scrim. And then It Takes Two is a cooperative video game about how a wife who is a professor and like does a lot of research is really busy, so she doesn't take time to like enjoy like and be there with her spouse, and so they decide they're going to get a divorce, and the child cries. She cries on her dolls, which turn the parents into dolls, and the whole game is trying to find their way back to their child, and they fall back in love at the end. So it's a great way to say like, hey, you want to play a game together? You've never played video games before, and your wife will be like, yeah, what's it about? I'm like, divorce. And I like Bruins, activism, and coffee. Um, Coffee is great because office hours are called tea and tea time. I have tea in my office as well as coffee, and I want the tea, right? I want you to come to my office and tell me all the dirt here at Stonehill. I will engage and talk to you about it and be like, oh, no way, they did what? Except if it's another faculty member, then I will let you complain. Interesting. And I'm having all the thoughts in here, my brain, I'm just, oh my God. But and when you graduate, I can be like, oh my God, let me tell you what I think about that person. But until we graduate, I'm going to be a professional and not dish about my fellow colleagues. But you can, to me, I just won't engage. But don't worry if you don't like tea or coffee. We have chocolate, candy, coloring books of various shapes and sizes. And if you color anything, it goes on my office wall. So come become a part of my wall and hang out. I don't have time like scheduled. So that doesn't mean I don't want you to hang out. It just means that if I book a time, no one's gonna be available anyway. So just stop by. I'm here on campus Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you can't stop by Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, and you really need to talk, I'm happy to come in on Tuesday or Thursday. I just try not to, but I know I'm going to be anyway. So email me, we'll find a time that works. So, right. I should preface. I ran out of my ADHD meds yesterday, and so I'm excited first day of classes, plus my mind's everywhere. So you're seeing me at my most energetic, and I'm really hungry. But what is the purpose of this class? For me, you're not going to go into a job and be able to tell the person at your workplace, like, oh, let me tell you about Milgram. Like, that's not going to be useful. What is going to be useful is thinking hard, right? Coming up with creative solutions, trying to understand a problem in a different way. And so I value critical thinking. What that means is I use my superpowers of thinking insane, and I ask you strange questions. I get you to think. Sometimes people dislike that, and that's fair. And I know you're going to be confused. And that's why you need to email me, right? Like, I know I'm confusing. Have I met me? I'm terrible. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. So you should feel free to email me with any questions on anything. You're definitely not the only one to have that question. And once I get it, I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot to clarify that. And I want to clarify things. I don't want you to be confused. It's just a byproduct of me. And that's okay. We can work through that together. And I say that because I've been that student who has no idea what's going on. So this is my transcript from grad school where I had this class, Intro to Data Science, and I had to withdraw. Right? So I've withdrawn from classes before because I had no idea what's going on. And it was so frustrating to put all of my effort and energy into this course, banging my head against the table and just not understanding it. It was the professor's fault. But regardless of whose fault it was really hard to like sit there and be like, I'm putting so much energy in and I'm just not getting it. I don't want you to be that person. So that's why you need to reach out and ask me questions because I don't want you to experience that feeling. And instead, I want you to engage, right? Like just think, right? Like if you can show me that you're thinking about the question, that's what matters. There's not really going to be like many right answers in this class. Right? We're going to read an experiment. I'm going to be like, so what do you think is wrong with this? There's no right answer there. Right? It's just like, what do you think is wrong with it? Right? It's getting you just to be creative and think on your own terms. I do say think on your own terms because I am a
talk about it. I love Pinterest. I have used it for as long as I can remember. I scroll through it almost every day. Everything from the way my house is decorated, to the clothes I wear, to the makeup I do, to the hairstyles I do, is inspired by what I find on Pinterest, but it is literally becoming impossible to use. Everything is either an ad or now an AI image, and it is driving me insane. Let me show you what I mean. This is just a short little clip of me scrolling through my main feed, and almost every other post is an ad. This is me just searching garden, and almost everything is AI generated. Like, what is that cat? I keep scrolling, and like, you literally click on anything, and it's like, this is so obviously AI, and it's so frustrating. I want actual images. Like, those wood beams are curved. The picture doesn't make sense. If you wanted to search cottage and see real pictures of actual houses, good luck, because literally everything is just AI generated and fake, or an ad like those puzzle ads.
because I experience the same thing, not just in like class, but like in life, right? Like I'm scrolling through and any like social media now, you just see things, you're just like, whoa, like it just looks like you know what is written by AI and what is not. I look at that and I just immediately like gross, right? Like it makes me feel a little sick. I'm like, this is boring. This isn't actually someone's thoughts. This is just a computer trying to tell us what it is that we thinks we want to know, right? It's just, oh, um, and that's not the point of college. It's not what you're like meant to do. Your goal is to challenge yourself and be uncomfortable. When I ask you weird questions, I want you to experience that discomfort. I don't want it to the point where you're banging your head and getting concussion, but I want you to just be comfortable, not 100% knowing what the right answer is. Because again, there is no right answer. It's just you thinking it through. And so I do have a pretty strict AI policy that if I find that you used AI on an assignment, you do fail that assignment. And it's not letter grade deduction from the full final grade, but a letter grade deduction for that set of assignments. We'll talk about this in a second. And the second time I catch you, quote unquote, is a failure of the course. We don't really have group work in this class, so that's not a problem. Now, I know having this very strict policy should make you concerned in the sense of like, oh my goodness, what if Dr. C thinks first we're gonna have a conversation about it, right? I'm not gonna immediately just turn to the dean right away. But second, and I think most important, is I love policy. So when I am going to say that a student has cheated and used AI and should fail the course, I write up at least a 52-page document of evidence showing this, right? Like I am ensuring that when I make these claims, I am not wrong about this. There's another one, this one, 53 pages, right? That I am detailed to the point that if you are being honest, you're fine because you're not going to be able to have 53 pages of evidence on why you are, right? So don't be concerned because the conversation is for those of you who are not following the directions. All of you will, and it's gonna be fine. But I just want to highlight, I do take it seriously. I love policy. I love rules. I will admit, I like to park right outside Shield. I'm lazy. And so when I come in the morning and all the parking is taken already and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, oh, once I park and I walk over, I'm checking every car. And if there's a single, I call up Campus B. I'm like, hey, time to ticket Shields, baby. And they're like, can you stop calling? I'm like, do your job, follow the rules. Right? I love rule following. And so I do take this seriously and I will report things. But again, you shouldn't need to because one, I just want you to try. And two, if you're confused, turn to me. I know what the correct answer is. If there is a correct answer, I will guide you to understanding. All right. So, social psych. It's the best, bar none, type of psychology. And what we're doing is we're studying people in social situations. How do you work in groups? How many of us hate group work? Wow. A lot of you are liars. Not enough hands go up there, right? But there's group work can be frustrating, right? Can we at least agree that there are sometimes group work doesn't go as you would like it to go? That is because of psychology, right? It's because of social psychology that influences a group to act in certain ways. And so what's great about social psych is usually we just mess with people. I don't want to make people feel better. I want to make them worse. I want to see what they do when they're uncomfortable. If we get told to do something, that's social psych, right? It's just messing with people most of the time. Now, since I am a social psychologist, one of my favorite things of social psychology are groups that you think of a kind of group that might have a leader on top and people that really look to that leader. What kind of groups might those be?
Like a captain of a sports team.
That's good. Captain of a sports team, right? We have our leader and on the pitch, right? We're gonna look to the captain and tell us what to do. All right, good.
Like in government.
Government, can you tell me be a little
For example, like the president of a country, people look up and follow.
perfect. Yep. So we got the president of a country, and people are going to look and follow what the president of that country says. Yeah. Classroom setting. So me, you, potentially. Good. Yeah. Which one?
Work settings.
Work settings. Your boss versus you. Right. Great one. Yeah. Cults. Yes, I was trying to work my way to try and get people to get to the one I was interested in talking about. Cults. What do you mean by a cult? Tell me more about that. Nice.
I'm a Lutheran and Bob's a Unitarian. Keeps it spicy. That's why we're cursed.
I've been involved in a number of cults, both as a leader and a follower. Get more fun as a follower, but make more money as a leader.
And so we can treat our classroom, though, as a cult, right? I am your glorious leader, and you are all my followers. So you'll have a lot more fun in this class than I will, but I guess I will make a little bit more money. So, as my cult followers, please obey what I say and raise your right hand. We're going to work on our cult abilities here. All right. And please repeat after me, or repeat after yourself. I'm not the member.
College scholar. All to be true. 1. Dr. C does not want me to fail. 2. Dr. C will always be as understanding as possible if and when any problems, and more importantly, succeeding this class. 3. I value my grades, but are even a reflection of my self-worth. I still have plans to reach out to Dr. C with any concerns or questions throughout the semester. I know I was working and asking the minds of the kindness of to look forward to try and help me out. Furthermore, I promise to answer any emails from Dr. C within 48 hours during work. And grant him 48 hours to respond to any emails I send him. Ghosting Dr. C is not an option. I want you to partake in this semester. Dr. C will not be disappointed in me if I fall behind. Instead, he will be proud of me for taking the initiative to get ahead of my grades. I seriously will respond to Dr. Carrier's exam. I really promise I will respond to Dr. C. Even if the appliances of Dr. C and I have a face to deal with you right now, and we talk tomorrow. My dear, I promise to take care of myself, contacting health services, taking mental health days, and getting mental or physical exercise. Always ensuring that my well-being comes first, while not jeopardizing the education experience of my classmates.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. So wonderful. I'm glad because indeed, right, I have had students reply to me and say, I'm not in the headspace to talk to you right now. I'm like, yes, love it. Thank you. That's great because I really just want to make sure that you're alive and well, right? And that if there's anything I can do to support you at that time, I want to be able to do it. All right. So now comes part one of the weird part. Let's see. Here we go. Right. So what I have been attempting to try out this semester, or last semester really, and I've continued it on to this class as well, is a really fucking weird way to grade. But I do that for a very specific reason. I hate grading. Grading's the worst. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what the difference between a 95 and a 94 is. And I don't know any professor who could tell you the difference, right? And that seems unethical, especially since research shows that we tend to be super biased in our grading, even when we try not to be. One paper looked at all of like the canvas of the University of Michigan and found that if your last name is at the end of the alphabet, you got graded worse. If the professor didn't like turn on randomized assignments, right? And if they did, then there was no difference. But like they had to remember to click the randomized button. Otherwise, professors got annoyed as they kept grading, and the grades went down. If your grade is a reflection of your last name, it's not a reflection of. And so I'm kind of against it. I'm working my way there though. Dr. Nessus is amazing at it, and she has fully embraced it and is ungraded, and I'm not there yet. So instead, I've designed a very bizarre system that I call pass-fail with a ton of extra steps, or pass-fail with a ton of unnecessary steps. I tried it out last semester in social. It was the first time I tried it. Well, that's not true. Intro tried it too. And they were overall positive about it, but they felt that they had too many assignments. To be clear, there are 12 assignments. And they were like, too many, 15 weeks, 12 assignments, And so I brought it down to 10. So happy to take that feedback. And so we reduced it down to 10. And that's fine with me, less for me to call. Great. So how does it work? Everything else is pretty much the same. You get an assignment, you do the assignment. I grade it, and I basically grade it as pass, which is a B to me, which is a high bar, or not pass, below a B. And you get feedback. There's rubrics to tell you what you kind of missed, what parts of it you needed missed. And if you would like, you can resubmit it, addressing any concerns, and I will regrade it again, telling you if you passed. You got a B or didn't pass again, and you're back to not passing. Now, importantly, we'll get to this in a second, but say for one of the assignments, you have yet to pass a single one. End of the semester, you haven't passed a single one, right? So of 4 assignments, you've passed 0 of them. In any other class, what would your grade on that assignment be? 0, right? Yeah. In this class, it basically becomes more of like a 70, maybe a 65, right? So failing or getting an incomplete or not passing does not mean 0 in this class, right? It just means not B level, which is fine. And importantly, it's also designed because maybe you're just too busy, right? That's fine. You don't have to do every single assignment if you don't want to. The point is that ideally you can look at all the assignments, kind of take a guess of how many you're going to pass, how many you want to retry, and you know what your final grade is going to be, give or take. Right? And that's going to be one of our first assignments is you playing around to try to figure out, okay, ideally, what am I shooting for this semester? And that doesn't have to be an A. Let's pull it up. I want to get right to it. This is on Canvas as well. There's a tab called specs grading. And if you've taken statistics with Dr. Rich, he implemented this correctly. So this kind of grading system is supposed to work for stats and really stats only. And I was like, nah, we can do it for social too. And so I'm implementing it the correct way in stats this semester. Come on. My mouse. Anyone see it? Okay. Are you? Look how I expanded. All right. So this is all on Canvas, but for the most part, we have different sets of assignments. I lost the top part. And so you can see here, it says if you want an A in this set of assignments, so the first one is like podcasts, right? We're going to get 4 podcasts throughout the semester. You listen to them, you answer questions about the podcast that you listen to. If you want an A, you have to pass 4 out of 4 of them. And in this system, this is where it becomes extra steps. There's pass and like pass plus. That's the A distinction. I call that exceeds expectations. So 3 of them need to be pass plus. It exceeds my expectation. And that gets you an A. If you do only get 2, then you get an A minus. If you only get 1 exceeds, you get a B plus. And you can see it goes down. So you can guarantee yourself a C plus by just passing 2 of them. You got a C plus in that bucket. At some points, you can see here, you pass 0 of them, but you attempted at least 2. So you wrote something about them. Great, great. You're at a C minus. Even if you pass nothing, it is there to catch you. It is extremely hard to fail this class. The math can work out if you really want to try to fail, but that's on you for really trying your hardest and not turn in anything. It does try to capture you. I have done the math, and there's no difference in curve or grades doing it this way or doing it basic way. The distribution of grades is the same. It just makes me feel ethically better because I don't feel so much that bias is being influenced. It's really, did you achieve what I asked you to do or not? So we're going to have 4 podcasts to listen to. You can kind of decide again how many you want to do or how many you want to turn back in. So these are podcasts. There are 4 assignments in the semester. that are reading articles. They come from a specific journal called the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, so JESP. Same thing. Here's an article. Here are questions about the article. I don't ask you any questions about stats. That's not the point of it, right? Again, it's just thinking. And I direct you to very specific parts of the paper, like read this sentence. What do you think about this? Click this link. Tell me what you find. Right. And so those, and then we have 2 projects throughout the semester. So those make up the 10 assignments of the course. 4 podcasts, 4 read articles, and 2 projects. Beyond that, we have 3 exams. And again, there's a lot of like requirements, but if you look here, what this says is you could get a 91, an 85, and an 85, and you would be given an A on the exams. I think that's actually like a 88 average or something, right? That it's not achieving an A. I've reduced the barriers to get the A. So it is built in to be generous and flexible, because maybe you're not so strong in exams. Great. Well, all these different combinations kind of account for that. We have a ebook that we're going to read. It's pretty good. But in the ebook, like as you scroll through, there will be kind of questions within the book, and you have to answer them. They're all multiple choice. Importantly, the ebook does not care how many times you take to get the right answer. It just cares that eventually you get to the right answer. I say that just to be open and honest about it. But generally speaking, the chapters are going to be due before we start talking about them, so we can spend less time covering the content and more time kind of doing fun things, messing with each other. I will say this semester, I am reflecting on trying to reduce how much like class content there is and trying to increase the number of like in-class engagement and discussion that we're going to have. Noting the more we do that, the less that I get to review the content with you, and the more that it relies on you having read the book. So there will be balances to be made, but I'm thinking about how can I reduce the time I'm standing up here lecturing. No one thoughts that. I don't like to hear my own voice. We take attendance, flexible here on the attendance as well. And there is going to be a ton of activities in the class, but a lot of times they're super easy. So you might have a pre-class assignment, they say like PCA. It's usually a survey. And secretly, it's an experiment that we're going to engage in, and we're going to come to class, look at the results live, see how we did. Did we replicate the paper? What happened? Why did it happen? Why are you as terrible as I know that you are, but you don't think you are? Right? We're going to kind of look at all these results. So if it's a pre-class assignment, usually means I'm experimenting on you, but it's just, do the experiment. And then sometimes, a lot of times in class, we'll do activities, and then it's just like, answer the question that was on the in-class assignment, right? The in-class assignments take up no time because you're given time in class to do them. And the pre-class assignments, the surveys are generally pretty short. But, the more time you take like reading them, the better the data is. If you want to just go through and ruin the study and just do 7s all the way down, you can. I'm not going to look to see how you answered it, but to get the psychology to work, you got to work with me a little bit here. Yeah. Correct. Yes, I would say like the reflections for like the journal articles, I would say like each question, I'm trying to do a better job defining this in the assignments, should be more than a sentence, right? Like again, because what I want you to do is show me that you're thinking about the answer, and it's hard for me to see thinking with one sentence, but there will never be like a essay written. Indeed. Now, the last piece, oops, I mean, I'll take that, is, well, how do I, if I failed an assignment, or not pass an assignment, how do I get to a passing grade? You have 4 resubmissions throughout the semester to use, as you see fit. There's 10 assignments, so you can resubmit 4 of the 10. I generally do give like opportunities for one additional one. There's some, activity on campus that we want you to go to. If you can't make it, that's okay. We'll find something that's right. But generally, you have 4 times to resubmit assignments. There is windows for how long you have to resubmit. We'll talk about that when the time comes. It also depends on me giving you the grades back, right? So it's movable. But basically, once I give you back your assignment, you have a week from that day to resubmit it if you want. And that's it. And so I can't scroll because I'm having trouble scrolling on this, but above there's drop downs, and you can drop and choose different drop downs, and up there will show you what your final grade is. So you can play around with the drop downs as much as you would like, and they'll change. I should have protected it so you can't ruin it, but if you do ruin it, don't worry. I have it saved elsewhere, so I can fix it pretty quick. So the grading is confusing, and it definitely is the biggest complaint of this class, these last couple iterations. But I just ethically, I think it's better. And if you take time to like think about it, like it does in the end make things clearer, and you're not sitting there ever wondering where you are in this class. It is hard to think about what is your grade tomorrow because you've done no work, right? So it's like, how am I doing? I don't know. And I don't know if you're going to resubmit something that you didn't turn in. All assignments are due at 11:59, and if you turn it in up to 12:15, it's still on time. And so you get 15 minutes of panic. After 15 minutes, it's late. And if something is late, you didn't turn it in. And you would have to use a resubmission if you want me to grade it. Questions on the chaos that is this grading? Okay. Where am I? Here we are. Okay, so let's break our rooms. LOL. Let's do some social psychology. How does class go tell? Great. Let's do some social psychology then. What I need is people to pair up. I don't really want you to pair up with a friend. You might be sitting with a friend. Fine, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna do some pairing here. Drop there. Awesome. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, never mind. Sorry about that. You're rich. And you, Joseph.
Yeah.
Now everyone has a market. Yeah. Yeah, but took a little bit of time. Sorry about that. All right. So, what are we doing? We're not going to a breakout room, obviously. On Canvas, I try to organize the class in a pretty consistent way. So, in the modules for this class, I'll try to put up modules for the week. And the week, it always is set up the same way. So any homework you need to do before this class, then slides for the class activities. So things that we might click on or use during this class. Class recording link will go here. and then work for this coming week. So on here, there's a link to class activity 825. I'd like you to go to that. And when you do, it should bring you to a PDF. It says Arthur Aaron's 36 questions. So we're going to fall in love. You're gonna fall in love with your partner. And you both have partners too, huh? Does your partner have heads up? Okay, you're good. See, this is, I tried to print them out and then. Where's my mouse? Give me my mouse. All right. I'll print them out for you and then I'll run away and come back. I'm just sending them to all the printers because I really don't know which printer is which. All right, so most of us have a PDF in front of you of different questions, and these are questions to help us fall in love. And so what I would like you to do is you can see it says set 1. If you keep scrolling, page 2 says set 2, and page 3 says set 3. Each person should pick one question from each set. So start with set 1. You ask a question, they answer it, and then you answer the question. Now your partner then picks another question from set 1, asks you the question, you answer it, they answer it. So everyone needs to answer. Let's do, I'm not sure about time, but let's start with 2 from each set, right? And go in order. So start with set 1, then go to set 2, and then go to set 3. Okay? So, Joseph, if you don't mind moving, and then I will be right back with that one.
Awesome.